All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Diamond Rivera of Diamond Rivera Films, and you are tuned into another episode of Live Discussions with Diamond. And today I have a very special guest hailing all the way from Florida, the one and only Scott MacDonald.
What's up? What's up? I'm so happy to be
Yes.
here.
Thank you, Scott. Honestly, and me and you are we've talked privately. We've definitely been corresponding these last few weeks and months since I've been doing my podcast and realizing that a lot of the guests that I've had on have a connection to you as well, whether they've seen you perform or they know you personally. So realizing a lot of the people that I interview really have a connection to the next one after, it really means a lot because it shows that even though our dance community is so large, we really are small. So,
Yeah.
I really appreciate you being a supporter of this podcast, but also me myself wanting to know more about you because I myself, and before we go all the way to the beginning, I recently, people don't know, my first inkling of you was seeing through your profile your classes at Casa Salsa, and just seeing your really unique turn pattern classes that you've been doing, but also that you've been doing it, in my opinion, safely. Really implementing the mass setup, and because again, with our dance scenes really being hit the hardest in our studios, it's really important to see studios that are really opening back up, but really putting safety first.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, the safety of our students is definitely number one. And we were a hot spot for a
Mhm.
really long time. So it was if we didn't stay safe, we would be closed longer. So yeah, we
Yeah,
keep it.
absolutely. And realizing over these past few months, a lot of the schools that aren't around, but a lot of them that are able still to stay afloat and provide a great service to your customers, but also doing it safely, but still having fun at the end of the day is really enjoyable to see, even if you can take the class from home. So, even just seeing
Yeah,
the classes that you have, I really love the creativity, the fluidity, the complexity of your classes, even though they're so fun, the patterns, as a dancer myself, I'm really intrigued by them. For me, it's
thank
about
you.
understanding how one move led to another move. So realizing that we do have dance teachers out here that not only from New York, but from Florida and other cities that are really pushing the bar, and really seeing dancers like yourself that have taken this online approach to their teachings. And my question is, how has that been, of going from the stage for now to now teaching online in classes that you do in Florida?
Well, actually, Casa Salsa has always been online.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's part of our kind of, we'll say, like, membership package. So
Hmm.
the members of the studio, for the members of the studio, we record what we're gonna teach the week before. So like every Friday, like tomorrow, I'm gonna be doing the patterns and the shines for next week. And what we do, we record them, we give them a little edit, and then we upload them by Sunday night, so the students can actually look at the material we're going to teach before we even go to class. Or if
Mm.
they want to practice, they can go home and practice it. So we've always been online like that, and it hasn't just
Hmm.
been for students; it's been open to everybody.
Yeah.
But we just recently did the streaming thing, like the web.
Yeah.
That's been recent, doing the live classes for people who
Gosh.
are not quite comfortable coming to the studio yet, or people who have been wanting to, take my class when they don't live in Florida.
Absolutely. And again, it's for me being a person from New York, catching one of your classes, and it's like, wow, it's just refreshing to see a lot of our premier dancers really doing the online approach and giving people who can't be there, don't have the accessibility to be there, and just be able to enjoy it. And like I tell a lot of my guests as well during our interview, there might be some real time comments coming in. Um, just as well, sometimes when we do our showing our comments, it might come up as Facebook user, but we always correct that afterwards. But we have someone already saying the spin master, and
Mhm.
also saying this is a great concept. How can we access the online classes? We'll definitely get to that answer, but first I definitely want to really how I love to start the interviews is understanding that even though we see presently with your classes, with the shows you've done in the past, I think the past is so important, because in our dance community, we see so many dancers come and go. We see our dancers see so many stages. They have so many rehearsals, and I think it's important for dancers like myself to talk to other dancers like you, because we have to understand that in this day and time, with our dance community really being hit the hardest, it's great to show the appreciation to other dancers that have gone through their own journeys, and just seeing them being able to perform like yourself, like at Nick's Motion in Orlando and abroad. I think it's really important that we understand who is Scott beyond the stage. So for me, I would love to understand is, how did dance really come into your life?
Cool. So let me first start by saying dance has completely changed my life. Like, the person that I was before I started dancing was completely different. Like, completely. I'm a completely different person because of dance, and I'm always gonna be forever grateful for that, because I mean, I don't even know. It's like one of those cheesy sayings, like, I don't know what I would do without dance, but it's like, I don't know what. But let me just start. Like, if I was gonna start like very, very, very beginning, I grew up super lucky to have awesome parents who were always keeping me active. So I did like sports, I did tennis, taekwondo, I did a whole bunch of things. I did band in school. I was a musician. So I always I grew up doing a whole bunch of things, and I'm so grateful for my parents who were always keeping me active and things like that. But I never did dancing ever. I was always scared. I was always one of those people that's like that secretly wanted to do it, but I was just like so scared. I was like the wallflower.
Yeah.
You're gonna be stuck to the wall at the parties. That was me, for sure. And then it was in high school. This was about 10 years ago in high school. One of my good friends, Jen, she kind of dragged me into this Latin dance club. And when she dragged me, she literally dragged me. But like I said, a little bit wanted to do it. So I kind of like dipped my feet in the water in high school. But it wasn't like, I don't even know what style it was. We were just doing like choreographies, and we were just like having a good time. It wasn't like on one, it wasn't on two. It was just like, just dancing, just having fun. And we did like little choreographies for like pep rallies and stuff. But that kind of like got my feet into the water. And then I went to college in FSU, which is in Tallahassee. So I'm from South Florida, and Tallahassee is 7 hours north. So
like at the top, like right in, coming into Florida.
Yeah, so it's like a different state, honestly. Like when I went there, it's pretty much a different state. But yeah, so I was really far away from home. I didn't know that many people. I knew a couple people that I went to high school with that went there, but that was it. And there was this group there called the Corazon Dancers, and they were practicing in my dorm. And I just went to go get water one day, and then I saw this group practicing, and they were like practicing really cool things, and I was really interested. And they saw me watching, and they're like, "Oh, hey, we have auditions in 2 weeks. Show up." I was like, "Cool." So I showed up. I did the audition. I made it, and from there, it changed my life. Like this team that we did, it was a legit team. Like, even though it was a college group, we took everything serious. Like, we had to have like a certain attendance. We have to attend class every single Friday. We had to social dance every week. So after class we had to stay for social dancing. So yeah, I was just learning on one through our little college group, and this group of college kids, we were just learning from each other. So like when people would go to Congress, they would learn a move and then teach it back. So it wasn't like legit stuff, but we were getting by. We were doing our best. We were being resourceful, and yeah. And then joining that group was honestly finding my family, especially my group for college. Like, these are people that I know I can have friends for a lifetime. So even if haven't seen anybody for a couple of years, I know I could call them up and like start back where we left off. These are people that I trust my life. I've met my best friends here in this group.
Wow.
Like, they're the best friends of my life I've met there. And I'm forever grateful for this group, Corazon Dancers from Tallahassee, FSU, and they're still going. That's a I think when I joined, they were like probably I want to say like 7 or 8 years into it.
Okay.
But they're still going. The group is they're still doing this thing. So then, and then so it was towards the end of that year, and all the leaders they were quitting for personal reasons, and so other people like myself, we had to step up to keep it going, because if no one stepped up, it would have just died. Mm-hmm. So I decided to step up as the director, or as the rehearsal director, but only after like 2 semesters of dancing. I'm like, I know I'm not good enough to teach, to direct the team. So when I came back home for the summer, that's when I started looking up studios, and I found Casa Salsa. So that whole summer, I spent every single day going to Casa Salsa to be learning, taking all the classes from beginner to advanced every day. I would make sure that I was in all the classes. And the owner of the time, which is the founder, is called Christian Espinola, who was my mentor. And so I made a really good connection with him. And every time I came back home, I would always take class at Casa Salsa. So then it was like my junior year of college, going into my senior year. Christian texted me. He asked me, when am I graduating? I'm like, oh, I just have 1 more year. And he said, hurry up, because we're waiting for you. And when I saw this, I think I like cried. because Christian was such an inspiration for me, because before dance was fun. Dance was like a really cool hobby, but then he's the one that really sparked my interest. Like, whoa, this could be like my living. And after, taking his classes so many times, like after he showed me that text, I'm like, I want to do dance for a living. And originally I was in school for creative writing. So originally I wanted to learn how to write, be like a high school English teacher, and write the next Harry Potter and get rich and things like that.
Okay.
That all just changed, like out of nowhere. And like looking back, I would never, like, if I look back at myself 10 years from now, I would never think that I'll be doing this as a profession, which is so crazy. But so then, then I graduated, and then literally right from graduation, moved back home and started at Casa Salsa. And the really awesome thing about Casa Salsa is the really awesome thing about Christian, he didn't train me as a dancer. He didn't just train me as a dancer. He trained me as a teacher. And the way he set up everything, Christian's like a genius. He's a entrepreneur, genius. He broke down the teaching method to like the smallest details. So going into that, I'm just training to be a teacher, not just a dancer, but a teacher. And that has literally changed my life, changed my character as a human being. And not when I'm training to be a teacher, it's also training my dancing as well. So pretty much the past 6 years at Casa Salsa, I've been teaching, learning from Christian, learning music from him. He's been teaching me so much about music, learning teaching, learning dancing, and learning from my students. And I'm here.
Wow.
I think that's probably like the short version of my story.
Yeah, no. Honestly, I appreciate it, because especially going back, talking about going to FSU, even though I am a Michigan and Miami fan, I love FSU, but realizing that in college, while studying with your academics, you found that love for dance and a little dance program, but then also being inspired by the Corazon dancers that, like you said, are still going around to this day, and realizing how certain moments can forever like change the outlook on your future. Because you said becoming a creative writer, your major was creative writing, but to literally go and fast forward and now you're a teacher at a dance studio, I think it's admirable, because it really shows that you went from just having a liking to it now to loving it. And I think in many dancers, especially teachers, there is a moment and I wanted to ask you, when was that moment that you knew that you could teach and you could do this full time? Because I know, like, you coming into it, you're loving everything that's coming your way. But was there a specific moment or time that you said, you know what, I'm really going to do this full time?
Okay. I have two parts to that.
Mm-hmm.
Part one, I think a part of me has always wanted to be some kind of teacher.
Gotcha.
And like in some shape or way. And that's mostly be coming from like having really good teachers for me in my childhood.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had such amazing teachers in school, in Taekwondo, in tennis. Like I've had so many people inspire me in music. Like I've had really good teachers in my life, and there's always been a part of me that's been wanting to do that, what they did to me.
Mm.
So I've always wanted to be a teacher. Like I said, I wanted to be like an English teacher because English was my favorite subject in school, and write a book on the side. I've always wanted to be a teacher, and actually growing up especially in like Taekwondo and stuff, I was given, as soon as we reached black belt, we had to teach.
Mm.
I was teaching, Taekwondo at age 12, 13, 14, and pretty all the way till I was 18. Teaching.
Wow.
As soon as we became black belt, that was our responsibility. We had to start teaching. And even with tennis, tennis I would coach a little bit for summer camp,
Mm-hmm.
like that. So I've always wanted to be a teacher. But the dance teacher, when I would probably say the first summer I went to Casa Salsa, because the way that Christian taught, his classes would be full. Like everyone would be at his classes, because the way that he taught, it was so detailed, but at the same time, it was so fun. So it's like you're learning in an awesome environment. And then I think I had a conversation with him one day. He's like, and he kind of like planted the seed of like, you can do this for a living. And I think it was after that I'm like, maybe I can. And I actually started, when I went back to college, I would treat Corazon like a job. Like I would honestly put that group before my homework. I would put it before my schoolwork. And that's just because I honestly wanted to. Like, and that wasn't just me. That was like our group of leaders in Corazon. We honestly treated that as a job. Like we put everything into that.
Wow.
Yeah. So
and that's amazing. That's really like to understand that what you said was really key when you talked about the teaching aspects on the different fields of teaching, in terms of just being an English teacher or a dance teacher or a Taekwondo teacher. I think with all of those, the key word is discipline.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That is a key thing, in realizing that you've had that expertise since an early teenager, being able to teach a Taekwondo class at a young age. You learn the discipline that still many as adults are trying to find. And I think that really helps, because with tennis, with all of the activities you're in, discipline is always a factor. And realizing is you have to take yourself out of the moment and focus and do what you need to do. And the fact that you found the love of dance and people like Christian, and having that place of Casa Salsa being a safe haven, a place you can come into, but going from you saying taking tons of classes to now becoming a position of authority, of leadership, of inspiration, because now, in a sense, you've become what Christian was to you.
Mm-hmm. And I missed one little detail. When I was, I don't know, not a lot of people know this, but Denise Cambria, she used to be at Casa Salsa.
Yes, I know Denise.
When she was going out, I was going in. So I was really big shoes to fill,
Yes, I remember. Is Denise and Ernesto from Florida?
Yeah, they're both from Florida. I think Ernesto's from Tampa.
Gotcha.
But Denise is from Miami, and she taught at Casa Salsa. I was never able to take her class there, but I knew everybody loved her. So I had like such big shoes to fill.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Definitely shout outs to Denise she's doing amazing things with Ernesto in Iroko. And for me, I would now like to kind of transition into understanding as being a dancer, being a teacher, but then now being a performer. I would love to know from your aspect, what was one of your favorite performances that you've ever done?
Okay. I would probably say this was probably pretty recent. It was I think 2018 in Bachateando. It was with my just past, how you say it, my recent ex dance partner Valeria. I don't know, ex dance partner Valeria. Um, we were actually a group, Casa Salsa. We had a pro team, and there was 6 of us, and the group we just kind of split up, and they some people went their different ways, and I think it was our first time that Valeria and I performed solo at a congress, and actually there was I think there was an injury or something before that, and so we were out dance like the month before we were out dancing, so we had to get back into it quick. And then I don't know, we just had this one performance. That one performance, we just said we're just gonna like we weren't gonna worry. We're just like, let's just let it out. Let's just give them what we want to give. And then I don't know, that performance just came out so good. And I've never cried after performance, but I cried after. We both cried because we both just gave everything that we had, and we were stressed before because we didn't get to practice enough, and that we were still hurt, and we didn't want to get hurt, more. But yeah, I think that was 2018 Bachateando. Yeah.
Wow. And the reason I had asked that, because I understand that many of us dancers, we always have those memorable performances, but a lot of times we or the others that are intrigued or the audience doesn't always get a chance to understand what it took to get to that performance. Mm-hmm. That everything is just not given to you. There are going to be really rough rehearsals. There are really going to be trying times. There are going to be injuries. There are going to be obstacles that come into your path, but it really is up to you to go right through them or let them impede your way. Mm-hmm. And, I think it's awesome to hear the humility and transparency of you saying, hey, I had an amazing performance here about Bachateando in 2018, but the road it took to get there was not easy. Mm-hmm. But we had a great show. And I've also talked to many Florida dancers, and they always say like you said, where you're from and in Tallahassee is a total different world. Yeah. You growing up as a Florida dancer, was there ever that kind of, just like people in New York, you have like the Bronx, the Brooklyn, the dancers from different places say how their scene is a little better, or their scene is more fun, or has a lot more artists. Were there ever, when you were going or being into this dance scene, were there like those places in Florida that you had to go to really see some great shows and dance with some amazing dancers?
Yeah, I would say probably like year by year there would be like hotspots. Like the recent one that actually closed down, because of the virus, everything was called Frankie's.
Yes.
Everyone would go to Frankie's on Friday night. But even before Frankie's, there was like Palladium. There was a place called Palladium. There was BTS. Mm-hmm. The cool thing about it is that it always changed. So like every couple of years, it would be a new spot, And yeah, and pretty much South Florida pretty much makes up like West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, and Miami.
Yes.
I mean, we're all relatively close. Like if I want to go to West Palm Beach, it's probably like 45 minutes up. Downtown Miami is like 45 minutes down. So we all like kind of go, around. Maybe people don't really go to West Palm Beach that much, but usually like Fort Lauderdale, Miami, everyone's going there.
Gotcha. And for my another question I definitely have is, you also as a performer going to different congresses, especially throughout the states, what are some really memorable congresses or festivals or weekenders that you really miss during these times?
Nice, cool. So hold up. Hey. so, my favorite Congress is Capitol Congress.
Shaka Brown.
Yes.
Yes.
The first time I went there, I fell in love because the music is incredible. Like the music is honestly probably the best thing for me because the music is what keeps everyone going. But also the atmosphere there is like everyone is just so friendly, and then it's so organized. Like I'm not gonna lie, the Congress is here in Florida, especially we keep our like reputation for being like like the typical late Latino, like always
Yes.
late.
Yes.
Performance is supposed to start at 8, but it really starts at 9:30. Like Capitol Congress is super organized, and I always have such a good time. The other one was New Orleans was really great too. Working with Dejan and Chloe has been amazing for me. They've taught me a lot of things, like dance wise, business wise.
Yeah.
They're kind of mentors to me too. And and then my third one, I went to this one time, but I loved it. Houston.
Yes.
I went to that one time, and the thing that really stood out to me was that they did the charity. Charity for like like I think like college students or like other people, and I thought that was so cool because I've never seen a Congress do that, and I think that one's nonprofit. They don't make any money off it, so like I think the money is going pretty much to the charity and to the artists. I'm pretty sure Houston nonprofit. I mean, I could be wrong, but yeah, but that aspect like really like drew to me. So I'll say Capitol Congress. What was it? Houston and New Orleans.
Gotcha. I love New Orleans as a city myself. I travel there yearly, but also I've heard so much as well about Capitol Congress. And I think you really touched on something very important as to performers and companies. What they really love to see is an event that is organized, because it takes so much out of a company to bring all of their members to an event, and nothing is worse than going to an event that is not organized. And I respect that you, as a Florida resident, can say that Florida is known to not start on time. I love Florida, but I agree. Florida is not the only one. We all have our issues, but at the same time, I've also known Florida as to being one of the great party places in terms of congresses and festivals.
Of course. That's another weird thing. Is like when I go to a Congress, I'm like, wait, there's no pool party?
Yes. Bacheteando is known for the pool party.
We're to have pool parties, And I've been to some place. I'm like, wait, there's no. I brought my bathing suit. There's no pool party.
Yeah. But a question I definitely have is, as a dancer for so many years already, what have really been your pros and cons to the scene as it's grown? Because I mean, and this is a valid question, because these are also the questions that we're talking about are the same questions or the same conversations we have in our public or in the private rooms when there's no party happening and we're just sitting down and just going over things like how your experience has been. So I think it's really important for me to also know from people like yourself, like, what have you seen that's good and what do you see that's kind of been in your opinion?
Good about the scene or about
the overall dance scene from like when you first started until now, because usually we're always evolving, but there's some things that regress sometimes.
This is a hard one. I guess the good thing about the scene is that I'm going to talk about congresses.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm always seeing workshops full.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that people are not going there just to have fun, but they're really taking advantage to learn from people that they're not able to see every day.
Yeah.
And that was something that we were taught in Cora. So like when we would go to a Congress, we would kind of split up. We would be like, hey, you go there, you go there, you go there. So then we can like teach each other later. So we wouldn't all go to one. we were trying to like go everywhere so we can like try to kind of teach each other later. And yeah, and they would always say like, oh, you can't miss this one, like you can't miss Tito and Tamara, you can't miss Yamule, things like that. So I really appreciate that workshops are really respected in congresses.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the negative, and the only reason why I say this negative because it's my experience.
Yeah, absolutely. This is from your experience. That's what I want people to also understand is when I ask this question is to understand, because you could also say there's nothing I haven't seen wrong, but I appreciate you just being honest enough to tell us this.
So my negative experience is trying to get in to the door and be treated as a professional. Yes. Which is definitely a process. It's something that I'm still learning, and you know, I've made a ton of mistakes, or I'm not saying mistakes, but I've done things like I could have done things better. Mm-hmm. But yeah, getting in the door is so hard now because it's like I don't know, like it's like if you're not Ernesto and Denise, I feel like you're nobody. Like I feel like I'm an ant. Like I'm an ant compared to Adolfo, Ernesto, and Denise, Yamule. Like so, it's like when these like I feel like right now promoters for congresses are they're just focusing on big names, and I think they're thinking big names mean big money.
Yeah.
I don't think that's necessarily true. I think a good a good mixture of artists, will make the atmosphere better, because I've been to congresses where all the big names are there, but they're not dancing with anybody, yeah. or it's like they're not approachable, or you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, so just to get in the door and not doing it so many times for free, but to be like, okay, we got to stop this. Like, I need to charge you this now because I've been doing this a while now. So this is what I deserve. And then they're like, they don't necessarily see. My thing is like right now I need to figure out how to sell myself to be like how I can serve your Congress, but also how they can serve me back. You know what I mean? To be like,
I agree. Yeah. It's like the way you're trying to say it, you're trying to word it in a way that makes taking all of the emotion out of it and just being completely honest about. Because again, I believe going from being a social dancer to being a performer to being a teacher myself in the past, I understand that the promoters have to sell their event to the consumer, but not realizing that they're tarnishing the relationships with the people in the community, and meaning that, like you said, sometimes trying to put your foot in the door so quickly, and a lot of promoters are seeing, oh, wow, they have a big name on social media, means that we're going to get a big payoff come event time. Mm-hmm. And I think that is an issue myself I agree with, because it doesn't mean because this big artist is coming, you're going to fill the room. But like you said, going now to congresses and you're seeing workshops filled when at one point they weren't. Mm-hmm. And people were just focused on going to shows. So, I mean, I really appreciate you just being honest about that, because that is a sentiment that I agree with. And I know many of us do, from people who've done it over the years, because like you said, you're still learning to be that professional. Mm-hmm. So for someone to literally take a class for a year or two, have a camera in the studio, and then become a teacher, that is a concern that many of us have who've been doing it for a long time. And I think it is, it's not good, in my opinion, because it takes away from all of the hard work people like yourself have been going with. And again, I really definitely think, and we're going to get into this later, about the online approach and how you've been, honestly, in my opinion, from the Florida scene, really capitalizing on it. I really appreciate it. But at least now it helps me now transition into a segment that I call the randoms, which is 10 questions. You have about 5 or 10 seconds to answer them. They're kind of, only one question is dance related. So these other 9 questions are going to help me and the audience get to understand a little bit more about Scott. So let me know when you are ready.
I'm ready.
All right. First question is, what is your favorite food?
Cuban food.
Okay. Favorite workout song?
Something with Beyonce.
Okay. Dream vacation destination?
London, probably Hawaii. I've never been to Hawaii. And then Italy.
Okay. What did you want to be at 10 years old?
They want to be an astronaut.
And that sounds like most of us. Next question would be, what's your spirit animal?
Lion.
Partner work or footwork?
Partner work.
Okay. What would be your superpower?
Oh, okay. So you know Avatar?
I know of it, like Last Airbender. Yeah.
I would want to be a waterbender, and I'm still waiting for my powers to come in. So
Oh my god.
superhero nerd, like I watch Spider-Man and I cry. Like, why can't I be Spider-Man?
Oh, I mean, you love the arts. You love. I mean, I'm a fan of the cartoons and the comics.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. The next question would be 3 people that are most influential to you at this point.
I would say my parents. I would say Christian, and then I would say my best friend Andres. He helps me a lot.
Okay. Awesome. Next question would be, what is a special talent that no one would know?
I love to cook.
Okay. So whoever's listening, Scott likes to cook as well as likes to teach.
I made passion fruit mousse today. It was so good.
Oh wow. I'm a cook myself, so I'd definitely be interested to learn. And the last question would be, if you were on an island, what are 3 things that you would need to have with you?
So I would need my music. I would need a book or books because I love to read, and then a dance partner.
There you go. But thank you again. Honestly, I think with these random questions, it definitely helps to get to know a lot more about you in a short amount of time. The first one, I knew you were gonna go with Cuban food. I mean, you are Cuban. I knew you wasn't gonna go a different way. But again, I appreciate you doing this, and especially hearing about the spirit animal and the lion, and I love the hair too. It has that kind of lion presence to you. And I definitely appreciate you doing this. And now it kind of helps me now transitioning into the present and understanding how with this COVID situation that we've been going through, it hit everyone really differently in different ways. But especially our dance community, because again, we thrive on being close to one another. So when this hit, it kind of put things at a halt. I remember still the second week in March. Because I get social invites from people from Florida, the up north to West Coast and the South as well. And seeing it was literally to like one point that everything kind of slowly stopped. And realizing that, now coming back into things, places like Casa Salsa are still available, because realizing our community, how many studio directors are not able to stay open throughout the nation, seeing different schools closing because realizing that rent has to be paid, and a lot of students are very hesitant to go back into the studios, but realizing people like yourself and Casa Salsa that have really been pushing that initiative of still giving a valuable service to your customers, but keeping it safe. So for me, a question I have is, I would love to know the experience. Was it like for you in your area when COVID hit? But what was the last social you were at before everything kind of happened?
The last event I was at was actually Nick's Motion. It was mid-February.
Yes, and you did a solo, correct? Yes,
yeah.
I remember watching that. It was like a silver and black, I believe. Yes.
Yeah, that was my last time I social danced in that environment, I think, because pretty much right after that, it was like almost shut down, or it was like slowly shutting down.
Yeah. And, for me, now understanding, when things kind of were to a halt, because like you said, Casa Salsa always had the online approach, so you guys weren't kind of like finding a solution; you already had a solution. But what was that first tries now we're under a new normal and we have to kind of adapt to the situation. What was it like? I mean, when you were doing your classes, was it always just you and the partner, or also dancers behind? But did it feel different now doing it under these circumstances?
Yeah. So first first of all, I didn't even believe that this whole thing was somebody told me like, oh, we're gonna be quarantined. I'm like, no way. I was like, there's no way it's gonna happen. But and so that was like when it happened, I'm like, oh wow, it happened. But in the beginning, honestly, I really took it as like a break time in my body, because I'm in the studio every single day. So I was like kind of like chill, but then I was like, no paychecks coming. And I was like, okay, so I gotta stop chilling now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was definitely tough financially, but yeah, we had to get into webinars really quick. So we came together, like the owners and the instructors. We came together to figure it out, and we figured it out so we can do it from our own home. And we pretty much just made a schedule. Probably 2 instructors out. Like I taught 2 classes out of the week, and then the other instructor taught 2 classes. And we tried to do a different schedule every week.
Okay.
Kind of to mix it up. And we didn't do that many partner work classes because we knew that a lot of our students didn't have that partner with them at home. Gotcha. Only a couple of them are, couples.
Yeah.
But yeah, we definitely tried our best. It was fun in the beginning. And then I don't know, towards the last month, I think this happened around the world. Like people were really interested in these online things, and then everyone started losing interest.
Yeah.
It's different. It's different for the student. It's different for the instructor too. Yeah. So it was towards that last month that it was tough, like dancing to 2 students.
Yeah.
Because everyone else, they were kind of sick of it. And so I was definitely feeling it, but we just pushed through. And even if there was 1 or 2 people there, we still tried to make it worth their time.
Yeah.
And then we got the okay to open the studio. So once that happened, everyone was so happy.
Yeah, I mean, of course, because again, we realize is that under what we're going through, none of us have been able to understand this because it just hit everyone at once. So especially for studio owners, you had to make sure that through your governments that the mandates were there, that you were able to open back up safely. Because again, us as dancers, we love the online approach or the online option, but a lot more people were more focused. Like, I want to be in the classroom. I want to be near my teacher. I want to be able to get the necessary attention in order for me to get better, but also have that social aspect, the socialization aspect. But again, I appreciate you doing it safely from the visuals that I've seen, but also I've talked to you privately and said that, especially senior classes, and you told me that a person that you've been doing these videos with, her name is Carla, I believe, is actually a student. Yeah. And I thought it was just the female assistant teacher, but I definitely have to give a shout out to her, because us talking and understanding that she's still currently a student and learning, but she just follows so effortlessly.
Yeah, she's a hard worker. I've had her since day 1, like teaching her the basics. Yeah. And she's so committed to coming to class. She's so committed to social dancing. She's been on our performance team, so she's definitely put in a lot of work. I think she's been with us for 4 years now. 4 years, yeah. And I'm building her up. We're actually doing I'm doing a pro-am competition with her in 2 weeks, a local competition. Yeah. In Miami, a virtual competition.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
No, I definitely appreciate it, because again, realizing that still being able to do it safely, but coming back to the studios, it means a lot, and it makes us not take for granted what we didn't have for many months. But realizing that even having your students coming back together, that you have that online feature for people like myself that get to watch it from afar and enjoy it. Because again, it's taking time out of your life to really dedicate 1 to 2 hours of your time to teach this. And it can be taxing, like you said. The quarantine part kind of allowed a lot of us dancers to rest, because we put our bodies through so much, like you said, training, events, rehearsals, injuries, that the quarantine allowed us to really understand what it was that we loved the most. And for me, I always wanted to know, as a dancer, who, if you could tell me maybe your top 5 dancers that really, really inspire. I know there's so many dancers you've seen, but who are like maybe 5 that really just pop into your head?
Okay. My top right now, and this is probably for everyone, Ernesto and Denise. I mean,
yes.
But also like inspiration, like, she started, and she didn't start where I started, but we come from the same place.
Yes.
So everything that she's doing right now, it's like, I can do it too. You know what I mean? So that she's definitely inspired me ever, like from day one. I love their work. Terry,
Oh, yeah.
France, he's incredible. He's like his videos, like I could watch them all day. He is not human. He is music, and that's what I love about him. Karen and Ricardo, they're the salsa gods.
Yes.
No one can deny that. I would say Grisel Ponce. She definitely. I took a private with her that changed my life. That changed my dad's life. That really stepped up my technique. And then taking classes from her whenever she was down here, she really helped me a lot in my dancing, my body movement. And then I would say Omambo.
Okay. Yes, I've heard of Omambo, and I've seen their performances.
And
amazing.
We got him to. We flew him over here to actually train us for a week. It was actually a really, really good time.
That's amazing. And just seeing too is that you still give love to your hometown peoples, like Denise and Ernesto, but also showing love to the people outside. And that's amazing, because you realize that people like Grisel and Terry and other dancers that you see from afar, that how much they can inspire you. Like you said, having that private with Grisel forever changed your dance life. And me even speaking to her and knowing her for so many years, of me growing up in New York and New Jersey dance scene, I completely know what you're talking about. There's things that she can teach. There's things that she can say that can put a trigger or pull that trigger in you. And again, it's awesome to see that you have been able to allow other people to inspire you instead of just sticking to your area. And like I've spoken to people like Stephanie Moore she said, coming all the way from Stewart, nobody would ever thought. It's like there's certain places in Florida, certain places in the States that, nobody thought that they would become this professional dancer. They never thought they would travel the world or inspire other people around them. And it's great. I mean, for me, I've always wanted to know too, was coming from Florida, since you've had so many different influences, did it feel like Florida was more of, as we call in the salsa scene, an on one and on two type of scene, or was it kind of always diverse?
I feel like it's always been diverse. Like, I mean, obviously you would think like Miami, Cubans, casino.
Yes.
I mean, that's obviously what pops into people's mind. But a lot of the studios here, there's some on one studios, there's some on two studios, but I think for the most part, people dance everything. I mean, some people only know one style, but I think I don't really like the fact of like kind of categorizing.
That's good.
A place, like we're just dancing.
No, absolutely, because I think too that is an unfortunate assumption that when people can go to certain cities and automatically categorize it, like people know New York is saying on two. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of on one. There's a lot of casino, and there's a lot of now. It's really bachata has really been kind of the new the new trend initiative these past few years, because talking to so many salsa dancers who are now bachata dancers, but realizing that still the atmosphere might be different, but the love for the dance is the same. And for me, being able to speak to you tonight, it's great because I get to understand another dancer that's been inspired by dance the way I have, and realizing that it's not all about just me, it's about we, and realizing so many people that have inspired you, from the Christian Espinola, am I correct? From your work with Corazon, from your time at FSU, from your teachings at Casa Salsa, from just being able to be inspired by dancers outside of Florida. It means a lot because it helps us understand your growth as a dancer, and understanding even during these times you can push through. And last question really I have before we slowly conclude is, from now understanding where we are, what are you looking forward to in the future for our dancing?
For our dancing.
Yes.
Well, I think once life gets back to normal, it's going to explode. Like people are ready. People are ready. Like as soon as like we get the okay, people are gonna be swiping their credit cards to go anywhere, I think. So yeah, I'm looking forward to, for the dancing, I'm looking forward that we just kind of pick up where we left off. And now, but we're coming back to it with more appreciation.
Absolutely.
Where, now that we know what it's like to not have it, coming back with more appreciation. I would say, if I can add my personal goals, coming back into everything that you see of me being inspired by so many people. My goal is to just share that with as many people as possible. Like, for me, it's not like, yes, I want to travel the world. I want to see all these places. I want to dance with all these people. I want to perform. But the root of it is I want to like inspire people that a stranger. I want to inspire a stranger that I've never seen, right? Whether it's through a social dance, just one dance, having just an amazing dance and just having that memory forever, or just giving someone like a light bulb moment.
Yeah.
In a class or in a private, like that's honestly what I'm looking for personally for myself. That's why I'm trying to get out there as much as possible, and I'm trying to show congresses, like, when I'm going to your congress, like I'm there for the attendees. I'm not there to like show off. I'm not there to like, I'm honestly there for the attendees, and obviously to have a good time myself. I'm a social dance freak. After the shows, I go get changed really quick and go down. Like, I'm not upstairs drinking.
Yep.
No, and if like the people in my room doing that, I'm like, come on, let's go, come on, I'm ready. And then I'm downstairs all the way till they turn on the lights. But yeah, I just want to share. I just want to share everything that I have, everything that I've gotten, and everything that I have, and I just want to share that with as many people as possible. And whether people get inspired by it or not, even if one person ever gets inspired by it, makes me happy.
Oh man, that's beautiful. And just realizing that I believe we need so many more dancers like yourself. And I mean, in a way, is that just being in love with the dance and the culture and the scene, rather than focused on the financial, monetary, or fame that can come along with it. Because you realize, again, dancers come and go, but it's dancers like yourself that really help us as a scene grow. Because again, your focus is to inspire. And I think as well as that promoters and organizers should focus more on artists or artist development, and really bringing up more artists like yourself. Because to be honest, in the last 10 years, yourself, people like Rob Grisco, because again, we have so many of the artists that we remember, but there's artists like yourself that are coming out and pushing the envelope, and of course need that recognition. I support it 110% because, like you said, when we come back and have these congresses and festivals and weekenders, it's going to be an explosion. Everybody's just itching to really be in that setting again. But now I think it's time for these organizers and festival owners to take what we're saying to heart, because you are a part of the community. So I definitely think, again, that these organizers and promoters need to pay attention to who's really coming out in the scene, even when we're during our hardest times, can still put themselves out there. So again, I appreciate, and having this moment just to build with you is great. You know, and for me, I really appreciated that tonight we could talk. And like I tell a lot of my guests, this is our first interview, but I definitely don't want it to be our last, because I would love to have you on later this year, checking up on what Casa Salsa is doing. But at least before we go, I would love to know if you had any last few words, and as well, you can share your contact info on how people can reach you.
Cool. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having this. And I love that you're doing this with other people, because I get to know other people more than, because usually the people that you're interviewing, I've just danced with them a couple times. I have a memory with them, but I don't know them. So this is awesome. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so if anyone is interested in training with me, you have many options. Number one, you can go to casasalsaonline.com, where you can just you could subscribe to our weekly videos, and you could learn our patterns, shines, and there's even bachata on there, things like that. The second option is people can do, I'm doing virtual private lessons with people. They can reach out to me for virtual privates. I just started this last month. I'm actually doing coaching, dance coaching. So this is kind of like private lessons on, oh, hi, Lucia. This is private lessons on steroids. So it's like being a personal trainer, but for dance, like making a plan for somebody, giving them assignments, making sure they send me videos. I send them the videos, things like that. So I just started that program. If anyone's wanting to coach, let me know. And that's awesome. And yeah, my Instagram is tornado_salsero. Yeah, they can reach me there. They can reach me through Facebook. And yeah, I want to, if anyone wants to train, dance, let me know. I'm always down. And yeah.
Absolutely. I definitely, from the work I've seen, I hope to come to Florida in the future and learn some moves for you. But again, it's been a pleasure and an honor to have you, because just as you're learning from the guests that I have on, I'm learning so much from them, and realizing that I cherish those times that we're in those hotel rooms and just having these same talks, because most of the time we just worry about dancing and staying up till 4 to 6 in the morning. But it's great to have these moments of just decompression and being in a relaxed state and just talking, because I think that's really a lost art in our scene, because we're just so focused on going from point A to point B. So again, I appreciate having you on the platform tonight. It's been amazing. I thank everyone who's been able to tune in. I thank you again, Scott, for taking time out of your day to speak to me and allowing me to get to know more about you. So again, I hope all is well. Everyone, again, please reach out to Scott if you have any information on Casa Salsa and the classes that he has available. So again, Scott, I thank you so much for coming on tonight, and we will be in talk soon.
Yes, thank you so much. This meant
Absolutely. Everyone, have a great